the platform is good enough. Let's start so that we are on time with the presentation. So for those of you that don't know, or for those of you that it's the first time listening to a webinar from CALDO, I'm just going to provide a brief context as to what is CALDO. So CALDO is a consortium of Canadian universities that decided to create a specific office to assist students from countries with which we have agreements with. So right now, the CALDO office provides support to students from specific countries in the Latin American region. We have agreements with 8 countries in the region, and Brazil and Mexico are obviously two of the countries for which we have agreements with. Our office specifically provides support in assisting students with information on graduate programs. So graduate programs are masters and PhDs. I'll talk a bit more about the services in the next slides. The CALDO name, probably you're wondering why CALDO specifically, why this name that has a meaning in both Spanish and Portuguese and has nothing to do with universities. So CALDO is for consortium of Alberta, Laval, Dalhousie, and Ottawa universities. That were the 4 universities that started this group. Right now, the group is comprised of 9 universities, but obviously they haven't included each of their letters in the name, or else it wouldn't make any sense. Why would you consider to study in Canada? So some of the reasons that we put on this slide are things Canada is recognized for, mainly for the fact that it's a very multicultural country. So all the university campuses are full of people from different parts of the world, including Brazil, Mexico, and other countries from Central and South America and North America, obviously. Also, you will find a lot of people from Asia, from Europe, people from Africa. So you have all this mix of cultures and people from different places that come together in Canadian cities, and obviously that reflects into the Canadian university environment. Our universities are universities in Canada, meaning that they provide state-of-the-art laboratories. They have professors from different parts of the world. The research that it's done is usually based on the most up-to-date information available for each area. One of the things that the students mostly notice in the CALDO universities is that the laboratories that they have access have all the equipment that they require, and usually the equipment is at their own. They are the only people using the equipment, which if it was in their home country, probably they would need to share it with 6 or 7 other students. One of the other aspects that it's very interesting about Canada is that although it's a North American country, the cost of studying in Canada it's much more affordable than if you were, for example, in other English-speaking countries, mainly the US, the UK, and Australia. So the Canadian dollar is usually more affordable than the correspondent American dollar, the pound, or the Australian dollar, and usually that translates into having a more affordable cost of living and also more affordable cost of tuition fees. One other thing that I would mention is that the universities, they all have international offices. The international office is a structure that assists international students, and wherever you are coming from, the international office exists to provide you the assistance that you need to be successful in your studies. Beside the international office, there are a series of other services like academic writing services, support services, things to keep the students engaged with the academic environment, especially when you're arriving and you don't know a lot of things that you can do or that are available at the university campus. When you look at the Canadian academic system, you will see that after you complete your bacharelado, you are able to enroll in a master's program. A master's program is usually 2 years, and in Canada it can be of two different types: professional masters or course-based masters. The professional masters is a program where you usually don't do research, so you are basically just going to classes, and you might have to do a small project at the end, but that's it. The thesis-based masters or research-based master is a master that involves research. So it's a master for which you have to do a thesis in the second year. For that, you will need a supervisor. The supervisor is an important piece, since it's the professor that will provide you the support necessary for you to do your research. Once you have your master's, you are able to apply to a PhD. And please note that if you're interested in applying to a PhD, specifically at our universities, it's advisable that you have the thesis-based masters, because the professional master, since it doesn't have any research, it doesn't prepare you as well to do a research at PhD level as the thesis-based master. So if you are considering in the long run to take a PhD, make sure that you opt for the thesis-based master. The PhD, or the doctorado, is a 4 to 5 year program, and it's a program for which you are doing mostly research. In the first and second year, you have some classes, but after that, you are basically just doing research, and you are doing that alongside a professor, a supervisor. The CALDO office doesn't exist in any other country beside Canada. So our only office is in Ottawa, the country, Canada's capital. And our office provides support for any student that is from one of our partner countries in finding suitable programs at master and PhD level. At the same time, we also provide support for you to contact a supervisor. Like I said before, for you to gain admission into a PhD and into a thesis-based master, it's essential that you find a supervisor. And we are basically here to assist you with finding and identifying a professor that is suitable for what you want to do, and to guide you on how to best contact the professor. There are some tools that I will talk about a bit more about that, but for the time being, let's focus in the universities that are part of the CALDO group. So, like I mentioned in the first slide, we have 9 universities that are part of CALDO. They are listed in this slide, but let's talk a bit more about each of them in 2 slides. Before that, I just want to tell you that there are specific categories that our universities can be included in. So all of our universities are considered comprehensive universities, meaning that they have programs in all areas of knowledge. You find that all of our universities will have programs in engineering, programs in sciences, programs in social sciences, programs in humanities. Between the 9 universities, they offer more than 3,000 programs combined. So you can see that there's a lot of programs to choose from. Not all universities will offer all programs, but among the 9, it's very likely that you will find a program that relates to what you're looking for. All of our universities, like I said, also offer personalized services that assist students from the moment that they arrive until the moment that they leave the campuses. And they are all considered research-intensive universities, meaning that they place a huge focus at graduate level in doing research. So in having laboratories and having professors that can supervise students to do high-level research. So let's start to look at our university. So let's start with the University of Alberta. The University of Alberta is located in the city of Edmonton. This university is located in the province with the same name, so the province of Alberta, and it's located more towards the west side of Canada. The University of Alberta is usually ranked as one of the top 100 universities in the world, and they have expertise in a lot of areas. Among those, you can find areas such as health, energy, mainly petroleum engineering, chemical engineering, and also other more specific areas such as, for example, agriculture, that you don't find in all of our universities. In the same province, you find the University of Calgary, that it's located in the city with the same name. The University of Calgary is one of the youngest universities in Canada, so it celebrated this year 51 years old. It's one of the few universities from the CALDO group where you can find studies for veterinary. So if that's one area, if that's the area of interest to you, this is only um, one of the two universities in language in English speaking language that offer veterinary science. They offer also other fields where they have expertise, such as also energy and the fields of biomedical. They also offer programs related to design and architecture that are also not very common in all of the other universities. Dalhousie University is located in the east side of Canada, so in the just beside the Atlantic Ocean. Um, it's located in the city of Halifax, and because of that proximity with the ocean, it's one of the main universities in marine sciences. So they are recognized for their ocean studies. They have one of the most advanced laboratories in the fields of aquatic research in North America. So they are a top choice for anyone interested in doing studies related to ocean sustainability, and also related to aspects such as global development and policy studies. They are also pretty strong in that area. Aside from that, they also have an agricultural department, which is something that you don't find at all of our universities. Université Laval is located in Quebec City. So this is in the French-speaking province of Canada. Canada is a bilingual country, so the province of Quebec is mainly a French-speaking province. So if you are interested in doing your studies in French, Université Laval is definitely one of the top options for you. This university is one of the CALDO universities that offer the most programs in terms of variety. They are one of the universities that offers programs in almost all areas of knowledge, and the only requirement is that you may need to speak French to attend the university. At graduate studies, sometimes it's possible to do the thesis in English if the supervisor agrees, but obviously you will be living in a French-speaking environment, so you will need to have some sort of French. You will need to feel comfortable with French. Outside of that, the university is also has a lot of expertise in the areas of forestry and the areas of mining. Moving to the capital city of Canada, Ottawa, we find the University of Ottawa. The University of Ottawa is the largest North American university, the largest bilingual North American university. They offer almost all programs in English and in French. Not all, but a huge chunk of them are offered in both languages. However, the student does not need to know both languages. He can opt for one or the other. The University of Ottawa, since it sits in the capital city, it's very strong in the areas of public administration, political studies, international development, law, but obviously also has state-of-the-art laboratories in the fields of sciences. So, for example, they have the Max Planck Center for Extreme and Quantum Photonics, which is one of the three laboratories of this kind that you can find in North America. Moving on to Queen's University. Queen's University is located in the city of Kingston. So the city of Kingston sits between Ottawa and Toronto. So on the south of Ontario, near the border with the United States. In 2015, this university was in the news because it received the Nobel Prize for Physics. And it's also a university that's very recognized because of its programs in the areas of business. So they have some of the most recognized programs in the areas of management, in the areas of MBAs. They are also a top university in the fields of specific areas of research, such as, for example, cancer research. Aside from that, they also have research in the areas of fuel cell, high performance computing, and health services and policy research. University of Saskatchewan sits in the city of Saskatoon. So the province of Saskatchewan is considered to be the agricultural province of Canada. So it's where most agriculture takes place in the country. So the university obviously tends to adapt to the reality where it sits. So the university has a huge focus on the fields of agriculture and also on the fields of veterinary. So it's one of the top universities in these two areas. So definitely a choice, an option to consider if you are in the looking for these two particular fields. University of Waterloo. It's located in Ontario, in the city with the same name. The University of Waterloo is one of the top universities in the world in the field of computer science. They have the largest department of computer science in Canada, and they have also um, they are also ranked usually among the top 40 universities in this field in the world. Um, Beside that, they are also very strong in the fields of mathematics and statistics, architecture, chemical engineering. Finally, the University of Western, or Western University, better said. It's located in the city of London, Ontario. So London and Waterloo are pretty close. Both of these universities sit at the south of Ontario. The Western University is among the top universities in the world for the areas of business, psychology, statistics, and economics. They also have some top laboratories in the fields of civil engineering. So they are one of the few universities that have their own wind tunnel, and they are also very strong in the fields of neurosciences. So they have an institute dedicated to this. It's called the Brain and Mind Institute, where they do world-renowned research in this field. Some other indicators that might be of interest to you. Each year there is a publication made by this company QS, that it's basically a company that publishes rankings for universities about the employability rankings of universities around the world. And we were very happy to see that 5 of our universities made it to the top 160 in this field. So this is just something in addition to the general rankings that they usually publish. One other piece of information that might be important is a classification that was made by the Times Higher Education of the top 150 most international universities in the world. And you can see that the University of Alberta and Waterloo ranked pretty high in terms of internationalization. So just to wrap up the CALDO services, and before moving on to where CALDO will be in Latin America later on this month. By contacting CALDO, first of all, our services are completely free. So you can send us an email and you can ask us anything that relates to programs at master or PhD level, that relates to scholarships from your own country. So our partners all offer scholarships. So in Mexico, we are partners with CONACYT. We also have a close connection, although we don't have any formal agreement, with FIDER, that it's an agency that provides créditos. And in Brazil, we are mostly familiar with CNPq and CAPES. So they mostly provide scholarships for PhDs, postdocs, and sandwich PhDs. So for masters, there's unfortunately nothing that we know of for Brazil. So we are only able to provide information at PhD level or above that. So all of that information can be requested, or we can assist you with that information through our email services. You can, through our services, you can receive information from all of our universities. So for example, let's imagine that you're interested in veterinary and you don't have any particular preference. So we can let you know which of our universities offer that program, and you are able to look into each of them and eventually make a quicker decision based on whatever information we provide you. We may also assist you with contacting supervisors. So we have a dedicated platform that we can use to share your profile with our universities. So each student or each candidate can create a profile, and we can share that information with our universities. The only thing is that that profile is only available if you are considering to bring a scholarship from your own country. That's the only requirement. You just need to be considering. And once you're here, we can still assist you with any questions that you may have, or if you are not able to hear from your university after you send them an email. A lot of students also contact us and ask us for advice or for some sort of assistance for a lot of different issues. So I'm going to now give you a brief overview of what we will do in Brazil and in Mexico in the next weeks. So we will be in Brazil for a conference in Rio de Janeiro, and we will take that time to go and visit some universities and to do some activities. One of those activities is a palestra that will take place in Rio in 15 de Abril. This is completely free, so you can. This is something that no one needs to pay to attend. So you will just need to go to the Hotel Atlantic Prime. I think it was previously called Slavielo. That it's located in Rua de Resende 87. This will be from 10 to meio-dia, das 10 ao meio-dia, em abril 15, ou seja, é num domingo. The program is mentioned there. It's a bit like this webinar, but more detailed. The only thing that you need to do is just register on the link that you see on the slide. So if you go to our website under news and events, you will see Palestra no Rio Abril 15. There's a link to register, and that's all you need to do. You just need to register and show up in the day, and just bring your questions. We will also be doing some presentations at universities. So as you can see, we will be doing presentations in Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais no dia 17 de Abril, na PUC do Rio no dia 18 de Abril, na Federal do Rio de Janeiro a 19 de Abril e na Poli da USP a 20 de Abril. Por isso, se vocês estiverem disponíveis, podem aparecer. Mais uma vez está a entrada livre. Eu creio que só está disponível para os alunos da universidade, mas obviamente se forem alunos ou se tiverem acesso às instalações, creio que devem poder participar. Finalmente, vamos estar também presentes numa feira no Rio de Janeiro, no dia 19 de Abril, das 3 às 8 da noite, no Hotel Windsor Barra Hotel. Pronto, isto é uma feira de estudos de pós-graduado, por isso, mais uma vez, é de entrada livre. Por isso, vocês não têm qualquer despesa para participar em atividades relacionadas ao caldo quando estivermos no Brasil. É só usar o vosso tempo e aparecer. Now, talking about Mexico, we will also be in Mexico in April. In April 16, we will be in Mexico City. So we will be doing a presentation at IPN, ETEC de Monterrey. You can see times there. On April 17th, we will be at UNAM and UAM. Once again, you can see the times there. All of this information is in our website, obviously, under news and events. We will be in León on April the 18th at IPN and Tecnológico de León. And on April 20th, we will be at Guadalajara, University of Guadalajara, and UNIVA. In addition to that, we will also be in the following fairs in Mexico City, Saturday and Sunday, April 14 and 15. And we will be in León on April 19th. The fairs are from 10 to 6 p.m. Okay, so if you're free during one of those days, we would be more than happy to welcome you. In Mexico, we will be with several of our universities. I think almost all of them will be there. In Brazil, not all of them will be there, but CALDO will talk about all of them. One other thing that I would like to mention, our website, it has a lot of useful resources, so you can use it to gather information on different topics. For you to know about what's happening in Brazil and Mexico, just click on news and events, and you will be able to get the information. Finally, for you to contact me, my email is the one that you see there, graduate.coordinator@caldo.ca. You can write me in Spanish, in Portuguese, in English, as you prefer. I will I will be the one answering all the emails. So obviously you can say that you attended the webinar and you have this particular question that you would like to ask. Or if you have just a very specific topic that you would like to get clarification, just make sure that you elaborate on that so that I can assist you the best I can. So right now, I am going to pass on the presentation to MITACS. Let me just upload the presentation. So from MITACS we have Matthew that was kind enough to take the time to be here with us today here, and he is going to explain the MITACS Globalink program to the people, to the candidates from Brazil and Mexico, since this is a program that it's eligible for students from both of these countries. So just to confirm, Matthew, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I'm going to mute my mic, and from now on, I'll pass the word to Matthew. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Bongiorno. I'm the manager for the Globalink Research Internship Program. I know you all have quite a bit going on right now, so I thank you all very much for spending some time with me today to learn more about Globalink. So to begin things, I thought it would be nice to give you a little bit of an overview as to what the program is all about and provide some context. So the MITACS Globalink program was initially started 9 years ago. And the original vision for it was pretty much to build a living bridge between Canada and our international partners. And the way that we thought would be the most effective way of doing that was to actually create a program that allowed for two-way mobility between students here in Canada and internationally as well. The point was to connect people by bringing them here so they could learn about us and sending Canadians abroad so that we could learn about other countries around the world. And this was all focused on research, doing this through universities, using research as a vehicle to bring people together, to spread knowledge, and to build international connections that would hopefully live on for years and years to come. The Globalink Research Internship Program has four primary objectives. As I mentioned, the first is really to attract undergraduate researchers from our partner countries, and we have 10 of them right now around the world, to come to Canada and really perform cutting-edge research at any number of the universities that CALDO supports, but also universities across Canada. We currently have 60 university partners, and all of them are eligible for hosting internships through the Globalink Research Program. So we really want to draw students who are interested in performing research of any type to Canada to come here and participate with our universities. The second objective was to provide the Canadian faculty members who are here leading this kind of research, to provide them with the opportunity to advance their research with the support of outstanding international students. So they're doing these fantastic things, but what can we do to help them advance the research in their particular field? And we didn't want to just limit ourselves to Canadian students. We wanted to bring the best and brightest from around the world who felt like they had something to contribute as well. The third point was to facilitate those connections between Canadian universities and international researchers to hopefully start a relationship, a partnership that's going to last many years beyond simply the internship itself. Research isn't done over the course of one summer, it's done over the course of many years, in some cases maybe even decades if it's something very long term. And we wanted to facilitate those connections so that both the Canadian universities themselves and researchers around the world could benefit from the collaboration that's happening here in Canada. And then finally, we really want to encourage interns to return to Canada to pursue their graduate studies once they're completed their internship. The internship itself is just such a small taste of what we can offer you here. So we always want to encourage you to come back and pursue your graduate studies so that you can feel like you're carrying on the research that you initially started over the course of a summer. So here is a quick overview of how the program itself works. And it's broken up into different phases. So the first phase is when Canadian faculty members from across the country, and although here it says 45 universities, we're really open to more than that. We have 60 partners across the country. We have faculty members from those universities who submit their projects to MITACS. And that happens right now in the spring through April and May and ending in early June, where we collect all these projects from around the country on any number of fields. It could be any topic. We don't have any criteria. It just has to be a research-based project. And roughly we get something on the order of 2,500 projects submitted every year. So pretty much anything you can think of, anything you can have an interest in doing research for, we're more than likely going to have it. Once that's done and we review all the projects, we then have the student call, which occurs. And that opens up in late July and it lasts until mid-September, mid to late September. And this is the point when students go through our online database and they look at all 2,500 projects. Of course, you can filter them so you can search for the things that interest you most, but all the projects are there and open for you to take a look to see, is this something, is this a topic that interests you? Is it a professor that you want to work with? You can check through the entire database and see if there's anything that piques your interest. Once that closes in September, we then review all of the students for their eligibility. And we'll have some eligibility criteria that I'll show you in a couple of slides. If the students are able to pass that eligibility criteria, MITACS then facilitates a matching period between faculty members and students. So usually between late October through November, we'll have this kind of matching phase or interview phase where the students who apply for certain projects, and you can apply with a minimum of 3 projects to a maximum of 7, you will have an opportunity to actually interview with the professor to see if you feel like there's a good fit. And once that interview process is done, you will rank the projects which you're most interested in. So like I said, a minimum of 3, maximum of 7. And then likewise, the professors will rank you as well in terms of their preference of all the students that they've interviewed. And ultimately, what we try and do is get as many matches of a #1 ranking to a #1 ranking as possible. So if you've ranked a project first and a professor has ranked you as their top candidate, what we try and do is really facilitate all those #1 rankings. Sometimes people get a #2 or a #3 ranking, but and that project will still go forward, but we try and make as many people happy as possible by giving them their first choice. So all that usually happens in November, and then by January we know, okay, these are the final projects, this is who was matched with whom, and then we spend a few months preparing all the paperwork and all the logistics that are needed to welcome the students. So that by May 1st, students then begin to arrive in Canada for their internship, which occurs over the course of 12 consecutive weeks, anytime from May 1st through the end of October. It's up to the student to decide when is the best time for them to come. So they collaborate with their professor, they try and figure out the best dates, but it has to be 12 consecutive weeks. We don't allow students to come and go, enter and leave in Canada. They have to come here and perform their research for those 12 consecutive weeks. And then finally, of course, this is always the most interesting part for students. MITACS provides the funding that you need to travel to Canada, to find accommodation. We provide you with health insurance and a living stipend so that you can enjoy your time in the country. The primary purpose for you to come here is research, but really we want you to have a holistic experience. We want you to enjoy your time here. We want you to have a good feeling of the country so that when you do go back home, you have a positive experience, and as I said before, you can consider returning for graduate school if you'd like to. So eligibility. On this slide, I've narrowed it down to our Mexican and Brazilian audience, but as I said, we do have 10 international partners around the world. And sometimes the eligibility will be slightly different from country to country. There aren't major differences, but there are some that I want to note for you. So first off, for Mexican students, any citizen from any university in the country can apply. no problem. Basically, same thing for Brazil. Any citizen from any universities can apply, and we're more than welcoming to encouraging for you to do so. When it comes to Mexican applicants in particular, though, they also have to fill out an application form on the CEP website. And I'll have more information on that in a second. But their website and their application actually closes a few weeks before the MITACS application. And that usually closes August 31st, whereas the MITACS application, which you will fill out on our online portal, usually goes into mid until late September. For Mexican applicants, you have to have a grade point average of 85% or better. And for Brazilian applicants, the system is slightly different. So we request a minimum score of 8 out of 10 or an ENM score of 600 or better. And you can find all the eligibility requirements on our website when we launch in late July for the application for students. This is a little bit more information for Mexican applicants. So as I said, you have to apply through CEP in addition to MITACS, and we have the portal address for you there if you'd like to take a look. I know sometimes the portal is closed throughout the year when the application is not live. So if you click on that link right now, it may not be open. But if it is updated in the next couple of months, we will be sure to have that on our website as well, so that you can easily go and click on that link, and check out the information that they need. But if not, we also have the link to the website as well, so you can go to their website, see what kind of information you might be required to provide, and take it from there, and basically ask any questions of our CEP partners if you'd like to. And again, the deadline for CEP is usually August 31st. Okay, in terms of general eligibility, these are conditions that apply to anyone regardless what country you're coming from. So first off, applicants must be 18 years of age or older in order to apply, and you must be enrolled in a full-time undergraduate program. We also accept some dual undergraduate master program applicants, but by and large, the vast majority of our applicants are from undergraduate programs. In addition to that, you have to have a minimum of 1 semester and a maximum of 3 semesters remaining in your program as of September of when the internship ends. So in this case, you see September 2018. So students who are coming this summer, they have to be able to go back to their home university in September to conclude their undergraduate degree. If you're going to be applying for next year in 2019, you have to be enrolled in a program in September of 2019 to meet our eligibility requirements. Now, some countries might start a bit later, so we have our program running from May to October. So if you start in October, that's fine too, even if November for that case. But the goal is to have you returning back to your undergraduate degree so you can complete your studies and then return for graduate school. Students who are finishing and graduating their undergraduate program and then coming to Canada, that wouldn't work for us. So we ask that you have at least 1 semester before you come back and attend our internship. As I said, you must be available for a 12-week internship, arriving between May 1st and June 30th, and then returning to your home country between July 15th and October 31st. And then finally, you must possess a passport from your home country that is valid until at least January 2020 if you're planning to come in 2019. So there has to be about 6 months of eligibility left on your passport for you to be able to enter. We do not accept people who are coming with a passport with less time than that, because it causes problems for immigration reasons. So if you have a passport that's expiring, it's usually best to get it renewed before you come to Canada. Now, these are high-level eligibility requirements. We have more of them, and you'll see those specifics again on our portal when you apply in July, but these are just the main things that I wanted to make you aware of. In terms of documents, There are a few important ones that you have to submit as part of your application, and there are three in particular that I want to stress because sometimes these can take quite a bit of time. So the earlier you get started on this, the better it is. The first, of course, is an official transcript from your home university, and we only accept them in English or in French because the projects that are occurring, as my colleagues have mentioned in Canada, are either English or French because we only have English and French universities. So if you cannot obtain an English or French transcript, you must submit a translated and notarized copy before the application deadline. So you get it notarized and translated in your home country, and then you submit it to MITACS through our online portal. Most students do not have an issue with this. And in fact, many universities will actually translate their transcript into English for the students for free. So I haven't seen too many issues with this particular criteria. Another document that's needed is at least one letter of reference, again in English or French, from a professor or a research supervisor who's overseeing your work. We want the Canadian faculty members to be able to read a letter of reference from your professor or supervisor from back home so they can get a bit of a sense as to who you are. They're receiving many applications, and a lot of times that letter of reference can really make a difference for a student. So we encourage you to get in contact with your professor or supervisor as early as possible and let them know, ask them, would you mind writing me this letter, because it's something that's required in order for your application to go through. And usually the more time you give a professor, the better it is for them to write you that letter of reference. And then finally, we also request your curriculum vitae, a CV detailing your research experience, because we want to see why you have an interest in the particular projects that you've selected. What is it about that that aligns nicely with your academic career or maybe your future career goals? So a CV would be very helpful. Obviously, most undergraduate students only have so much experience, but whatever you can put down in a CV would only help your cause further. And then finally, I'd like to just broadly speak to some key dates. Every year, the exact dates change somewhat, maybe from one week to the next, but these are just some broad strokes of what you should be aware of. So the MITACS student portal, where you actually submit your application, begins accepting applications in mid to late July, and then the portal closes usually in mid-September. Again, we encourage you to request a letter of reference and your academic transcript as early as possible, because if you wait until September, your contacts may be too busy at that point. I know a lot of times students, depending on what part of the world you're from, of course, because each country has its own academic calendar, sometimes if you wait until September, there's just too much going on, and the processing time for getting a transcript may be just way too long, and you may miss the deadline. And that has happened to students in the past. It's a very unfortunate thing because we're literally getting thousands of applications. We can't make exceptions for people. So really, the earlier you can get this done, the better. And then finally, if you want to apply, you can go to our website, which is www.mitacs.ca. And then you go into the tab that says Programs, and then the tab that says Globalink. And what you can do as of late April is you can actually enter your email address and you can sign up for updates. So instead of constantly checking the website, you just sign up once and we'll send you emails with information letting you know, okay, this is what you're going to need. This is when the application portal is going to open, and we'll just prompt you that way so that you're not constantly having to check our website. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. Unfortunately, I forgot to include a link where you can send your questions. So I would encourage anyone with questions, you can ask me either now or you can send it to our help desk, which is helpdesk, HELPDESK at mitacs.ca, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have either this week or in